Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Kamar Mehboob from Physiology Department, Faisalabad Medical University. Dear students, we are going to study today about the capillary dynamics. For that purpose, you must know that the pulmonary capillaries, for that we have very specific thing that the lungs got abundant supply of the blood, so that the blood around the alveoli make a sheet of the flow rather than the individual capillaries. And we have abundant time, sufficient time, or we can in other words say that the quick service is provided for the rapid and the most rapid diffusion and transport of the gases through the capillaries to the alveoli and from the alveoli to the capillaries. For that purpose, blood passes through the pulmonary capillaries in about 0.8 seconds. You can see that less than 1 second. So rapid blood flow is going to the pulmonary capillaries. When the cardiac output increases, this can shorten to as little as 0.3 seconds. From this diagram, you can see that these are the alveoli surrounded by abundant blood supply, that are the pulmonary capillaries, for rapid transport of the gases from the alveoli to the blood. So that grossly we can see a sheet of the blood instead of alveoli and the blood capillaries. We just see a sheet of the blood over that area. So much abundant blood supply to the lungs. But we must remember that there are certain differences regarding the fluid exchange through the pulmonary capillaries and the peripheral tissues. You must concentrate these differences because I have selected them from different books and internet sources, and it is not written as such in your textbook. So must please copy it and concentrate it, because the fluid exchange against the blood capillaries of the lungs and the alveoli, that depends upon these specific points. Regarding the pulmonary capillaries, if we talk about the pressure, it is 7 mm Hg, while in the peripheral tissue it increases and reaches to the 17 mm Hg. Then regarding the interstitial fluid pressure, if we see minus 8 mm Hg in the pulmonary capillaries, but rather it is minus 5 mm Hg in the peripheral tissues. Regarding the colloidal pressure, it is 14 mm Hg in the interstitial fluid in the blood capillaries, while in the peripheral tissues it is just the 6 mm Hg. And also you must consider the thin alveolar walls regarding the fluid exchange in the pulmonary capillaries. These are very specific points which affect the exchange of gases and the fluid dynamics against the pulmonary capillaries. If we consider the different sources acting on the blood capillary and the alveoli, you can see the hydrostatic pressure, the most important, and the osmotic pressure or the oncotic pressure because of the presence of the plasma protein. These two forces are present inside the blood vessel, while outside they are also present, but there are certain differences. So if we calculate the net force, what will be that one? You can see from this diagram, certain forces have the positive charge and certain we have the negative. What is meant by that one? This is showing that it tends to remain inside, and this is showing that its negative sign showing that it tends to go outside. as I have already told you that where is the abundant plasma protein or the solute particles, they attract the water particles. So by considering all these forces, we can have the forces tending to cause movement of fluid outward from the capillaries and into the pulmonary interstitium that become the capillary pressure positive 7, that is the forces tending to cause movement of fluid outward from the capillaries and into the pulmonary interstitium. So collectively we can say that the capillary pressure, that is the capillary hydrostatic pressure, that is 7, interstitial fluid colloidal osmotic pressure, which is minus sign. So if we consider it or come here or bring this one inside the blood vessel, that is it is carrying the positive sign. You can take plus 7 outside together for the calculation, and if it remains here you can calculate the mean one. So interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure, that comes 14, and the third one, that is the negative interstitial fluid pressure, that is 8. Now we have the plus 7, minus 14, minus 8, and the net one, that is the total outward force, comes to 29. While the force that is total inward force, that is minus 28, and force tending to cause absorption of fluid into the capillaries, that is the plasma colloidal osmotic pressure, that comes 28 with the negative sign. So by calculating all these things together, we have the net force, that is plus 1, and the direction is plus. Mean filtration pressure, that is, this is the pressure which is required or which is tending to move outside. Now this becomes very important regarding the clinical scenarios, so that if this is the condition, if we omit the presence of lymphatic pump, then what will happen? This excessive pressure that will be exerted to the alveoli, and the fluid will tends to move inside, which will lead to the collapse of the lung. So this is the gift given to us by the God, that is the presence of the lymphatics, which are going to absorb the excessive pressure, so that whenever this is the situation, they absorb excessive pressure. And we have certain limits also, that is the safety factors provided by the presence of the lymphatic pump, so that if it increases within certain limits, it can be absorbed into the lymphatics. And this is the base which is giving the safe side to the human body, and we can be on the safe side to avoid the disease condition. Otherwise, it will exert it on the alveoli and there will be collapse of the alveoli. So this is performing the safety factor, that is the lymphatic pump. If it is not working properly, or it becomes insufficient, so that this pressure is going to be increased or cross its certain limits, what will happen? That will be the presence of the disease condition, that will lead to the disease condition, that is the collapse of the lung. So this is the all about the capillary pressure and the how the lymphatics, they are going to serve and make us safe from the disease condition. Thank you very much.